The following presentation is rated TVMA.
Hello, ladies. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome to Season 1, Episode 9 of Sluts for Smut. We have to welcome back Nixie. Welcome back.
Yay. I'm so glad to be back.
Tonight, we are discussing the first of 3 books in the, what does she call it?
The Harem
of Hearts. Thank you. Yeah. In the Harem of Hearts trilogy, we're discussing Allison's adventures in Underland.
Underland,
not Wonderland. So I guess we'll start at the beginning, where we meet our, I guess we can go ahead and call her our heroine, since they believe she is the Alice.
The Alice. That's
Allison.
her title. That's her title. The Alice.
Yeah. We meet Allison and her sister, Edith, who are getting ready for a party. A teenage party. We remember those days, right?
Yeah.
We remember those days. They are getting ready for a party, and Edith is giving her sister shit for reading a book instead of getting ready for her party.
What kind of book was she reading?
Does it even say? I don't think it says, does it? It's
She was reading a paranormal romance book.
See, look at you. She is reading a book, and her sister's like, hey, are you going to get ready or not? You know, she gives her a dress to wear, which, you know, just so happens to be the signature Alice dress, if you can see in the middle of our screen.
Yes, but instead of fishnet stockings, she had the epitome of the Harlequin stockings with the red and white, or the red and black and white checkers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And combat boots.
Combat boots and a little hat.
Easy now, fuzzy little man Peach.
Because, you know, you got to have them bustiers. We got to lift and...
Apart from the regular jeans and tank top that she decided she wanted to wear, but no, Edith's like, no, you're not going to embarrass me, even though, you know, apparently, according to the book, so we figured, is Allison is 18 and Edith is 16. Mm-hmm. So she's making her get all cutesy for this party or whatever. And then
should have stuck with jeans and and tank top.
She should have.
Totally. Totally.
And then her younger sister is giving her shit for having the hots for this kid. Brandon, the chess nerd.
The chess nerd.
What's wrong with having the hots for the chess nerd?
I mean, she reads books all day.
Exactly.
Kind of fits.
It does, especially if you read books all day. So they end up going to this party. And, Edith goes off, does her own thing, and then there's a good old Allison with her book tucked under her arm. She goes and tries to find her a quiet place to read, but before she does that, she runs into, you guessed it,
Now, are you really a slut puppy if you don't go to a party or wherever you are without your book in hand?
No.
No.
I mean, think
No,
about
you're
it.
not.
Nixie, you drive everywhere with your audio books. I know that Kitty is at work with hers. I've got mine next to me at work. Like, are you really a slut puppy if you don't have your book in hand?
No, I don't think you classify as one if you don't.
Just a hint for you puppies out there if you really want to be slut puppies. Just saying.
So she runs into Brandon at the party. They talk for a minute, He's like, oh, my brother drugged me here. She's like, oh, my sister drugged me here. Oh, bondage. And then she's like, all right, how the fuck?
Not that kind of bondage, but, bondage.
Not the good kind.
Right?
She's basically like, now how the fuck can I get away from here so I can go read my book?
Yeah, because he's boring. He's literally just grumpy, like with his feet.
He doesn't really pay her any attention,
Yeah.
Whatever. And
She's
then
there getting laid. He
Wonderland.
just wants to put his feet in the water.
Yeah. So then she goes and finds herself this little tree to read under. She's sitting there chilling, reading her book. And then she sees Brandon walking over to her, I guess, to come talk to her. And then she sees...
But didn't her attention get drawn by hearing I'm late?
Yes. And then she sees the white rabbit with his beady red eyes and his hair looking all,
They have to have red eyes.
Yeah. And he's staring Brandon down.
Ears.
And then he fucking straight up pops Brandon right in the head.
You done messed
Kills
up,
him.
Aaron!
Kills him dead.
Kills him dead.
And she's like, what the fuck?
Because, that's what every heroine does.
That's
It's
what
like,
happens
right.
at every high school party. You're sitting there reading
Right?
your book under a tree, and then somebody fucking comes around and kills your crush.
I mean, why not?
He's like,
Bullshit alert.
You got my attention.
Bullshit alert.
he's literally like, King's orders. Pops him
I
right in
was
the head.
going to kill her. I promise. I just couldn't. Ah.
I
And then
need
he's
more
bitching
time.
about, being late. Like the White Rabbit does.
Well, he's
Mhm.
always late.
And then Allison calls 911.
Because that's what most teenagers do.
Right? Allison calls 911 and then chases off after the White Rabbit.
Because
Like, who does that? You watch somebody kill somebody and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna chase after him.
Yep. He's got a gun. He just killed my crush. I'm going to chase him. That's smart. But
And
I mean,
then-
she did have 911 on the phone in her pocket as she chased him. So I mean, she wasn't completely of the dumb.
She was like, I'm not fucking around and finding out. I'm going to keep this shit in my pocket and on speed dial so I know what the fuck's going on.
So she wasn't completely stupid.
No. But then she follows him into a bush. And then she follows him down the rabbit hole. No pun intended.
Oh, totally pun intended.
Totally pun intended. And she's falling down this rabbit hole, you know. The walls are made of dirt and cabinets and shelves and maps and pictures and jars of who knows what the fuck the jars are full of. Taxidermic dogs, birds, glass coffins, like it's fucked up shit that she's fallen past. And she's like, what the fuck is going on?
It's a bad trip, man.
It was like she thought she was having a bad trip for real.
She thought her sister drugged her.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she thought that her sister gave her some good shit, and she was like, okay, cool, you know, whatever. And then
She starts to realize that there's going to be a bottom.
yeah,
And when she gets to the bottom, she doesn't know what's down there. And what just happens to fly by her at that moment but a gun.
yep, Queenmaker.
We don't know that yet. Shh. So she grabs the gun. Now she has the gun in her hand, and she's falling, and she's falling, and she's falling, and she's falling, and she falls right into the White Rabbit's arms.
Mm-hmm.
He catches her. He puts her down. He talks a bunch of shit, and he bounces off.
That tracks.
After
Right?
she pulls her brains out, and it's like, you fucking shot Brandon.
So she's running around in a Alice in Wonderland dress with a little weird top hat, in combat boots and a bustier kind of corset thing.
Mm-hmm.
She now has a gun in her hand. She's covered in her crush's blood.
Mm-hmm.
She has fallen down a rabbit hole. And because this is not all crazy enough, in true Alice style, she decides to chase the White Rabbit because she has read the book, as most of us have in our lives. And what happens when you chase the rabbit? You find a small door. And you eat something or drink something, and one makes you small and the other one makes you big, and you have to find the key. She knows all of this because she has read the book. So she follows the rabbit.
Mm-hmm. Which, of course, she goes down the rabbit hole with the murder weapon. But then she disposes of the murder weapon, and that is when she picks up the Queenmaker, which we don't know is the Queenmaker yet. She picks up a gun out of some random fucking cabinet when she's falling through the whatever you want to call it. And that's when she meets the rabbit, aka Rab, the White Rabbit. Rab.
The Rab, yep, Rab.
And she finds out that she could take out a Jabberwock with that thing. She's like,
Jabberwocks are real?
and then
Jabberwock.
he's like, it's one of my, I laughed so hard when I read this part. I don't know why. I guess it's because it's like the first alter adaptation that I've read of Alice in Wonderland. But he was like, fair fucking well, Miss Alice. Try not to die before we meet again. And then left. He's gone.
Yeah, that was right up there with one of my favorite lines in the book.
Right?
I like that line. I was like, yes.
There was a lot of like, funny things in this book that made me laugh.
There were,
Especially
yeah. Like
what
you were just saying Jabberwock. And there is a debate in the book. Well, Allison has a debate in her head in the book, as is it's a Jabberwock is one and Jabberwocky are multiple,
Yeah.
or is it a Jabberwocky as in that is what the thing is called, but then what would multiple be called?
Yeah.
I'm going to
I
go
will
with
say-
Jabberwock is one, but it could just
Jabberwocky
be
is
like
two.
moose.
I know in the audiobook, one of the things that drove me nuts in the audiobook is they switch that word back and forth throughout the entire book. Like in one chapter, they'll say Jabberwock, and then in the next chapter they say Jabberwocky.
They do in the book as
Like
well.
they couldn't settle on the way they were going to pronounce it in the actual audiobook. It drove me a little nuts.
They
Yeah.
did that in the book as well.
Oh,
Yeah, even reading it, they swapped back and forth between Jabberwock and Jabberwocky.
Mhm.
But so we get to the point, obviously, in Alice in Wonderland, you get to the point where the White Rabbit disappears and she's left in this room, and she pulls back this curtain, and all she sees, instead of just seeing the door, like in the original, you just see the little door. She sees a man sitting on a red chaise lounge, leaning back and smiling, with a tag around his neck that says, "Drink me."
and that's when the fight started.
And then she's like, "Oh, no." She's like, "Oh, hell no." Which I laughed so hard. Like, I laughed so much reading this book. Like, she's like, "Oh, hell no."
But it gets better.
And then she feels like she's like she's trying to like process this whole like drink me thing. And then she feels somebody like mess with her, and she turns around, and it's an identical looking person to the person she saw with the drink me sign, with an eat me sign around his neck. So obviously, like, if you think back to the original, you're like, eat me, drink me, identical peeps. You're like, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. If you didn't automatically think that, then you've probably never read or seen Alice in Wonderland. Because that's the first thing that I thought.
It's the first thing that I thought too. I was like, did they bring Tweedledee and Tweedledum in this early into the book? And then I was like, they had to have.
Well, apparently, according to them, they are gifts for the Alice from the King of Hearts.
The King of Hearts.
King of Hearts.
That is key. The King of Hearts.
Because I guess we will get
to that part.
We'll get to what happens.
Keep that in mind, everybody.
So we come to find out that I'm just gonna go by the notes that I have. The gun that she finds has a fuse, and obviously we'll figure that out later, what exactly everything that goes into it, because it's also another gun that also relates to it. And also the rabbit hole only goes one way. You can't go back out the rabbit hole. Because she was standing there. She was standing there looking at the hole, and they're like, "Nope, does not work that way."
But I want to go home.
Yeah. But we also
Crab shattered all of the vials of the shrinking potion.
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
White Rabbit shattered all of it
through the hole, the door, unless she did oral copulation on Drink Me.
Okay, yeah. So we also figure out that Eat Me is D, which is Tweedledee, and Drink Me is T, which is Tweedledum.
You gotta give Rab a little bit of credit. He kind of played a low key wingman right there by smashing all the vials.
But it's also the fact like he also assumed the fact that she was just gonna go ahead and suck him off.
You gotta give him a little credit for trying. I mean,
we find out maybe a little bit why later on.
Yes, yes, we do. We also find out that she tries to call out on her cell phone that she has on her. It doesn't work. But then old T or D, I don't know which one was like, oh, you can use my phone. It doesn't work outside of Underland.
Imagine that. But they describe it, and if anybody knows the what is that? Where they have the cogs, where you know what I'm talking about? That era, that type of style of dress.
Oh, steampunk.
Oh,
yeah.
steampunk.
They have steampunk-like phones. They have cogs and different things that twist and turn in them and stuff. But you know, you can only call Underworld or play a game.
Yeah. Which was.
I mean, if you never go topside, you wouldn't really need it to call outside of Underworld.
Yeah. But also, but the White Rabbit apparently goes outside of Underworld because obviously he went and killed fucking what's his face, who was apparently, that we find out, was a private assassin for the King of Clubs.
And he was also a rabbit.
And he was a rabbit.
Yep.
Which rabbits? Let me find it. Where did I write it down? A rabbit is the official term for a ruler's right-hand man or woman. Per T. T says that's what they are.
She's like, but I've known this guy since we were in kindergarten, since he was eating paste, and I think I would know if he had rabbit ears.
But technically, they don't have to have rabbit ears.
Didn't it say somewhere that they can shape shift to match the environment when they go topside? When there are assignments and stuff like that.
There are shapeshifters.
They are shapeshifters. So Allison is obviously not going to suck off Drink Me. So they decide to take the long way to the castle.
Yeah.
Where she is supposed to apparently marry the King of Hearts.
I mean, really? Which, of course, before we figure all that out, when they figure out that they're going to the castle to meet the King of Hearts, T, D, and Allison end up at a bar, which to her seems like a brothel. And everybody's high on the tea. Because tea in Underland is not tea. It's like fucking drinking shroom tea or getting high as fuck off your ass. Apparently.
Well, I mean, it kind of is shroom tea down there.
I literally have it written down. Tea party equals getting fucking wrecked.
And they're confused because up on the main, up on upper world or up top side, whatever. They ask her, well, don't you have tea parties up there where you're from? And she goes, yeah, but we don't get high off of it. Like, we don't get drunk off of it.
Mm-hmm. And them going to that bar is where they find out about the arriving, which is when all of the magic in Wonderland surged.
Mm-hmm.
Kitty's always raging. Eric, shut the fuck up. No, but the magic surged, and that's when all of the women in Underland turned into
Who had all the magic?
Who had all the magic turned into men. And that was in 1865. I have it right now. 1865. So majority of the people in Underland are men. There are a select few women. So I guess being a woman in Underland is a big deal.
Yeah.
Because
it's like 9 men to every one. No, 10 men to every one woman.
Yeah. And that's where I can't remember her name. I didn't write it down. What was the chick's name? They gave her the clothes and stuff when they were getting on the boat. What is her name? I mean, really.
I can't remember her name. I don't know her name.
Lori! Lori. Her name was Lori.
Yes.
Lori gave her the clothes and shit on the boat. And yeah. The Longtail. And the captain of the Longtail happened to be Dodo. Which, of course, when I think of Dodo, I think of the fucking Allison Wonderland cartoon.
With the dodo bird, yeah.
Yeah, we're all running around.
All of the humans have animal names.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is just hilarious to me. Which makes me wonder what Lori.
All the stuff, T&D, like all their family's dead except for them, and then Allison, who isn't Alice, is going to change Underland.
That is what D calls Alice. Alice, who isn't Alice, and T calls her Allison.
All right. Before we go any further, we're going to take a short commercial break.
Rise and shine, my sinners. When Father Evil starts his day, he gets a little deadly. Deadly Grounds coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
And apparently they do like coffee in Underland. That is actually coffee.
What?
I said apparently they do have coffee in Underland. That is actually coffee.
It's tea. Oh yeah. She does drink coffee, and she's like, "Oh my god, it's actually coffee."
Is that real coffee? Oh,
She
I
was
need
very
coffee.
excited about the coffee.
She was
She
very
was
excited about the coffee.
Okay,
All excited about coffee
so
first thing in the morning.
we also find out while they're on the boat that the Queen of Hearts, the original Queen of Hearts, was actually a fair and like decent person. And then when the Riven came and they blew the fucking Queen of Hearts into fucking smithereens, her daughter turned into a prince because all the women in Underland became male, and she became a fucking tyrant.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you? You went from this gorgeous female body with the into a man. With
No, I would be fucking everything.
Mm.
Not really. Not really. I would say that, but that wouldn't really be me. I'd be like,
well, I mean, there's 10 guys to every woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like also like in the other movie, we have the hearts, spades, clubs, and diamonds families.
Mm-hmm. Because you have to have all of the suits.
Obviously. And at some point, T and D were bathed in blood because apparently they're like the last angels.
Yep. Oh, so tattoos. They're back tattoos. They have these gorgeous angel wing back tattoos with chains, and they're just amazing.
And we'll get to the point as to where
I am just saying they were amazing tattoos.
They also hate the king, and they've also T is the pesky and chivalrous one, and D is the cheeky asshole.
Which self-proclaimed.
Accurate.
Then good old Allison was over there asking questions, about Lewis Carroll, like, because he wrote the original Alice in Wonderland, and apparently he wrote them as a prophecy for the Alice.
Yeah, because he was from Underland, and after the Reaving, he went topside, and he wrote those books. So for him, it was real. But for us, they were just...
Yeah. And then apparently the whole time, like on the ship, she learns all kinds of things. She deals with all the other guys, and then Lori teaches her how to tie knots and ropes, and then T gives her the Alice books. So she starts reading those. And then that's when they reach land and get dropped off by the boat. And they head towards Rab's estate, trying to get, I guess, to the king. And are hoping that Rab will help them get to the king.
Because that's who, Alice wants to see, is the guy who killed her crush.
Yeah.
But she's not crushing on the twins.
What does it say? Rab is apparently like the first man to the king. Apparently. But we also find out that a rabbit is the official term for a ruler's right-hand man or woman. Mm-hmm. Per T. And that all rabbits are shifters. So they can turn into different things, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you find out later on. I think they can do three different animals.
Yeah. I have that written down. So we go into that, and then we meet up with Rab at his estate with his hearts and things. That's what this is built after.
His little purple and white house.
With the rabbits and the hearts. Yeah. And you come to find out that he has, like, because obviously all of them, if you read the book, they're covered in tattoos for different reasons. Rab is covered in tattoos, but he also has 3 different clock tattoos, which I wrote down, which I thought was muy importante. He has one that's for when he's due back at the palace.
Mm-hmm.
He has one for when his execution is, which is fucked up.
Right?
And he has one for tea time.
Well, if you knew you were going to get, if you knew you had a set time or date for your execution, would you not have one for tea time?
I mean, yeah, but I'd be like fucking living life to the fullest, which I guess he is. Since he's trying to fuck the Alice.
They're all trying to fuck the Alice.
Facts. Listen, the top of my notes right here, I have all the names of the people that I think are going to be her non-husbands. But yeah, and then she's talking about how only thing that she's ever really talking about is how she's going to go home. She's ready to go home. She wants to go home. And
she
then
has to get to the looking glass.
Exactly. Rab says the king will not let Allison pass through the looking glass because he wants her to be his bride. And then she has nightmares about her dead brother.
And about her sexual assault. Almost sexual assault.
Who, the only reason why her brother is dead is because he stopped her sexual assault, and then her attackers killed him, and then her mom killed her attackers.
Yep.
Because I guess I'm sure we could have talked about that in the beginning of the book. Like, her mom's in prison.
Yeah.
Why is her mom in prison? Because her mom killed her fucking attackers that killed her brother because he was trying to protect her. And then, they make their way to
the mushroom.
They make their way through the mushrooms, and then they make their way to, what's his fucking name?
They go up the mushroom and they have to introduce Lar.
They make their way to the Duke's house.
They haven't gotten to the Duke's house before they meet Lar.
No, they're at the Duke's house when they meet Lar.
No, they're at Rab's house when they meet Lar.
Really?
Because Lar wakes up, or not Lar, Rab wakes up from his tea with D.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, hey, you want to come meet Lar?
Yeah.
And she's like, who is Lar? And he goes out and they climb up the big shroom. And there is Lar.
Yep.
Short for caterpillar.
Yeah. And he has butterfly wings.
Butterfly wings.
They're iridescent and glow.
Yep.
Pretty butterfly.
And then all hell breaks loose because she sees a vision due to his
wings.
Smoke.
And his fucking jubs.
Yep. The jub birds and the Jabberwocky and which looks like a dragon, apparently. And then you find out that Rab is a shapeshifter, and then the Jabberwocky is not actually a Jabberwocky. That's the Duke.
It's the Duke.
Like, the fuck?
Yeah, his horns and his tail. You're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, she about to shoot this guy with the Queenmaker. She about to make this guy dead. Why? Because that's what the Queenmaker does. It kills Jabberwockies. And so she gonna shoot him, and they're like, wait!
And then so all of that happens after the Duke comes flying in dressed as his Jabberwock and saves the day. They all make way for his estate.
And that's where you find out that Rab has the Kingmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Pew pew.
And that the rain. Yeah, so after you find out about the riving, which makes the women come and turn into men, and then you come to find out that the rain is magic.
It's magical.
And it can also, it's left over from the riving, and it makes, apparently if you sit in it long enough, it works its magic and turns you into a man or a woman.
Because the women of Underland are the ones with all the magic.
Yes.
Yep.
So they take in the magic of the rain, and it's too much for them, and then it drains them of all of their power, and then they turn into men. Poetic. Right? So they get to
the a lot of shit happens at that point, but we have to take a commercial break. So we'll be right back.
Everyone has a birthday they'll always remember.
Can we open my presents now, Mommy? A good guy! I knew it! I'm Chucky.
He's something, isn't he?
This is Andy's.
Time for bed, Andy. Good night, baby.
Good night, Aunt Maggie. Good night, Chucky.
Everyone knows most accidents happen at home.
How did that happen?
This is no accident.
Andy!
I'm Detective Mike Norris, homicide.
Andy!
Miss Peterson's dead, Miss Barkley. She fell from your kitchen window.
Someone's moved in with the Barkley family, and so has terror.
Mommy, I know who was on the counter.
Andy!
Who, Andy?
Chucky.
Nobody believes you about Chucky. He came alive in my hand.
Oh, for God's sake.
Why won't you believe me?
Because I'm sane, Mrs. Barkley. Sane and rational.
No one believes the truth. Or lives to tell it. There's nothing nice about murder. And there's nothing innocent about child's play.
Join. Oh my God, I had a brain fart. Okay, join us Thursday night as we go over Child's Play. It's gonna be fun.
And tomorrow
night
Chronic
is
Sports.
Chronic Sports, where we are apparently going over our favorite sports movies.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That would be fun.
it's gonna be
Good movies. Some of those sports movies are I actually kind of like them.
Yeah, there's actually some really good ones. Okay. So I have to go over this before we go anywhere. Okay, so we know that it's in Allison's blood to be the Alice.
Yep.
Her ancestor fled after the riving with all of her magic intact, knowing that her or someone in her family would have to set things right in Wonderland. And that apparently Allison has a 35% chance of saving Underland.
That's a big chance, 35%.
And also the fact that Underland and Topside, which is where we live, are direct opposites.
Mm-hmm.
And the riving happened because of the way that women are treated here.
Which back when the riving happened, I can see that because women were treated like shit back then.
Yeah. And
they didn't have the right to vote. They were treated like property. They didn't have the right to own property. They didn't have the right to have jobs.
Yeah.
They, they were treated horribly.
And then we also that's when the rain starts in Underland, and they're like freaking the fuck out, like get inside, And then we find out that the rain in Underland is called wild magic rain. And it's full of magic from the riving.
Yep.
So while they're all stuck in the house at the Duke's, shit gets real.
Because of the rain. Shit gets real.
Shit gets real. And we have to squeeze that in.
Dirty that is.
That's when she sees the wing tattoos on T&D, which are the wings with their chains on. And she realizes that they are a curse from the former King of Hearts, which was the Tyrant. And then apparently she gets some wild hair up her fucking ass and decides to kiss T or D.
D.
She decides to kiss D. And then his wings fucking go. Whoop.
She horny.
Yeah. The whole book, the bitch has been horny. She's been talking about it the whole fucking time.
So she is talking to D.
You're lacking.
She is talking to D because during the fight with the Jub bird, he asked her for permission, but he never broke out with exactly what he was asking her for. And she said, "What were you asking?" Mm-hmm. And he said, "You have to free us because we are your best weapon. That's why the king sent us. We are your best weapon. You have to free us." And she says, "How do I do that?" And he said, "Put your hands on my shoulders." And she starts kissing him, and the hands start wandering, and out pops these wings, and down falls these chains, and apparently they trip, and his dick ends up in her hooey. Because
I guess you can put it that way.
You're not wrong. That's kind of how it happened. He caught her in the feathers.
I mean, she was already sexually frustrated, so like, I'm gonna take your fucking chains off your wings, and then we're gonna fuck.
And then his twin brother walks in.
Yeah, I felt so bad. I felt so bad until they did it.
Right?
And then after that happens, after she sleeps with Dee, we come to find out about the Vorpal Blade because she starts training with the Duke.
Mm-hmm. And we come to find out
that the Vorpal Blade is made of, the hilt is made of Jabberwock horn, and the blade is made of a previous looking glass. And then she's like, what can I call you other than the Duke? He's like, North. And she's like, oh, really?
Imagine that.
Really? He's D, he's
North
T. Fucking the rabbit's a Rab, and you're North? The Duke of Northumbria? Really? But the whole time that she is traveling to the Duke's, she keeps seeing a smile in the trees.
Of course.
Which we all know who that is.
Right?
The Cheshire Cat.
No.
Who finally makes his appearance at the Duke's house.
And annoys her.
And we call him Chesh.
Crazy.
AKA the Cheshire Cat. He cranks you up, by the way. And then we also come to find out that the prophecy that they keep talking about is said that the Alice is to have 9 husbands.
9 of them little guys.
So how many do we have right now? We have Tweedledee, Tweedledum.
Which she sleeps with both of them.
Yes.
We have Rab,
the Duke,
the Duke,
Chesh,
Lore, and Chesh.
Lore. And then obviously, even though we haven't gotten that far, it's going to be the Mad Hatter.
Mad Hatter, yeah.
We got to count that. How do you have 8? 7. Okay.
I had a figure too many come up. It's okay. It happens. I was also thinking of the other rabbit.
Brandon?
The one with Mad Hatter.
Brandon? The one that's dead?
No, the one that's with the Mad Hatter.
Oh,
that's right. There, he does have someone with him.
He has the Dormouse and the March Hare with him.
March Hare, March.
Yep.
That's what
We can't go there yet. We're not allowed. We can't go there yet.
Nope.
But no. So apparently, we come to find out that the prophecy states that Alice has 9 husbands, and then we also find out that the Mad Hatter is a mercenary, which we didn't know. And then we also find out that there's an inaugural feast, which is when a rabbit is presented with his or her 3 meats, which is where they become a, what's the word? Where they can transform into a Bandersnatch or 2 or more, and then there's their forms. Because, because the Rab can turn into the Bandersnatch.
Mm-hmm. We don't know what else he can turn into yet. But we also find out while they're in the rain that the reason the Duke doesn't like to turn into the Jabberwock and he doesn't like to turn into the Bandersnatch is because the women of any species in Underland are the aggressors in Underland.
Yes.
So, like, you see a hot piece of meat and you're like, hey, baby, I don't even care what your name is. You're coming with me.
Yeah. So then the Duke starts training Allison, with the Vorpal blade, trying to get it together. And then we reached the point where she's like, all right, I'm done. And then the twins, T and D, are trying to go to bed. She's like, no, I'm going to go hang out with the Duke. So she goes downstairs to train with the Duke.
And Dee gives her permission to sleep with him because he considers himself the first man.
Yeah.
So then Dee is his second. And of course, their rules are the first man has to approve of the second. Then the first and second have to approve of the third. Then the first, second, and third have to approve of the fourth. And so on.
Yeah.
So Dee gives her permission to sleep with the Duke.
Yeah. Which I was waiting for it. I was like,
right? Like, oh yeah. But she's got her eye on the twin.
Oh, and we cannot leave out the Cheshire Cat because the Cheshire Cat, his fucking ass has been out there creeping around the whole fucking time, being weird, but she likes it.
Yeah. He's got his eye on her. Like, and he told me he's got a crush. He leaves her 9 dead rabbits.
We cannot
forget about mice.
We cannot forget about Chesh.
Yeah, no. He leaves her 9 dead mice at her door.
Yep. It was great.
What does that mean? When a cat likes you, it's a gift.
Yeah.
And as Dee says, somebody's crushing hard like a diamond.
He's like, so what? He's literally perched up on the fucking railing like, and? I don't give a shit. Call me out. I don't care.
I gotta admit, the training scene
is like, assuming, makes an ass out of you and shins.
What were you saying, Nixie?
What were you saying, Nix?
I said the training scene with the Duke was probably one of my favorites because when he knocks her on her ass And she was like, I can't do this. Da, da, da. And he's like, get up. And he gives her his tail to get up. And so she grabs the tail, not really thinking about it. And he yanks her to his feet. And then one of the twins walks in and he's like, you're a pervert. And she's like, what are you talking about? And she goes, here, the twin goes, grabbing his tail's like grabbing his dick.
I actually have that
That's
written.
awesome.
I think it was Lore that actually said that.
Was it Lore?
It was Lore, yeah. Which I think Lore has a thing for her too, but he is that. She describes him as like an elf, like that high and mighty, holier than thou kind of like, unearthly.
So it's gonna be the twins, the Duke, the White Rabbit,
yeah,
Lar.
Mm-hmm.
5.
Even though Chesh and North, he's going to have.
Chesh. Okay, it's gonna be Chesh, and then we're gonna have the Mad Hatter. That's 7. I doubt she's gonna go for the king.
She's already decided
I don't
she
know
won't.
that she
He's
has a
already decided he's
choice.
going to marry her. You don't think what?
I don't know if she'll have a choice.
Where's my first page?
She will if she has something before she gets there.
PD, Rab, North, Chesh, Lar. That's 6. Okay, so 7 would be the fucking what's his face.
Makes you think about who she's going to get in the next 2 books before she gets to the king.
Okay. And also, there's apparently a 4th book that is The Kings of Underland. It's not technically considered a 4th book, but it's called The Kings of Underland.
Well, this is only a 3-book series, so that's got to be a standalone.
I think it is so far, yes. It says book 1 of 1.
So, in the end, she goes up and she sleeps with the other twin. But she wakes up from a nightmare and decides she's going to go back down to the training room to read Alice in Wonderland. Because at the time it was Wonderland, not Underland. And all of a sudden, the weather sounds different to her. So she goes and sees a broken window.
She goes to the solarium.
And who should come up to her and catch her but the Mad Hatter and the March Hare.
And the mouse.
Nobody cares about the mouse.
Which makes me laugh because apparently the mouse is fucking a huge dude, and it's like.
Yeah, I mean they're all named after animals. Why wouldn't a little mouse be a big guy? I mean, it's like
the Mad Hatter shows up with the March Hare and Dormouse, knocks out North, and takes Alice to meet the King of Clubs.
Because she has a date.
They were taking too long
with the king.
They had to take the long way,
right?
And
that is how the book ends.
Yep. But also, you also find out is it in this book that you find out that the Mad Hatter is human?
Yes.
Raiden Walker.
He is from the top side.
Yep.
Right. And isn't in that final scene of the book, doesn't North get killed? Or she
not
thinks
killed,
he's not dead. He's fucked up, but he's not dead.
Yeah, he is knocked out and injured, but he's not dead. They can't kill off one of her men. She hasn't had sex with him yet. They can't kill him off.
We're waiting on that. But on that note, ladies, is the end of our show.
It is.
We will have to tune in next week when we read book 2,
Allison and the Torrid Tea Party.
Until then, we love you guys. Thank you. Follow, subscribe.
Share.
Share.
So glad Dixie's back. Woo!
Woo! We love you guys. Thank you. Until next week.
Have a good night, y'all.